Good evening. The date is July 14, 1945. Germany has surrendered and war in Europe has come to an end. Hitler's Nazis have been vanquished and American soldiers are returning home. Families and friends everywhere from California, Iowa to New York are welcoming back their men and women after 3 long years of furious war. In a cottage on the quiet shores of Walloon Lake, Michigan, await Mariam, the young wife of First Lieutenant Morgan Jablonski, who was listed missing in action after the invasion of Normandy on June 6, 1944. This is her story and revelation that soon comes to her door. There's a knock, heard, and a voice ringing out. Hello? Anyone home? Harriet exits upstage. Sebastian! How nice to see you. We're having tea. Come inside and share some with us. Love some, if it won't be too much trouble. Harriet enters the kitchen with Pastor Sebastian Dupree following closely behind. He is tallish, mid-50s, thin in stature, with a jovial air about him, and neatly attired in a light-colored suit and tie. Mariam, look who's here.
Good morning, Pastor Dupree.
Good morning, Mariam. You're looking fit. Please sit down. Care for cream and sugar? Yes, please. What brings you here this fine morning? I was checking in on Mrs. Valmont across the street. As you know, she recently lost Alfred a couple of weeks back and is still adjusting to the change. Thought it best to sit and talk with her a while. He was such a sweet man, big as a horse he was. I remember the day they first moved in. My God, that was 30 years ago. Where does the time go, Sebastian? It goes by in a blink, all right. We missed Mariam and you at his funeral. I'm sorry to say we weren't able to make it, but we've paid our respects. We brought over a couple of loaves of fresh bread and spent half a day with Ruth. I must be honest with you. Ruth and I aren't the best of neighbors, but we're polite. Now Alfred, with his infectious laughter, he'll be greatly missed. He once sang in the church choir, but not for long. A deep, lovely voice, but had a little trouble keeping harmony. Choir practice was always a challenge when Alfred was there. I believe he laughed more than we sang from all the jokes he shared. Oh, we just received good news about Morgan. Wonderful. He's alive then. We can only hope. It's a letter from the Pentagon saying they're stepping up their search now that Germany surrendered. Isn't that grand news? Splendid news. I feel it in my bones he'll show up soon enough. I was praying last evening, and honestly, I believe he's alive and well. He's probably sheltered by a family in a French farmhouse somewhere. Lord willing, we can only hope for the best. Yes, that's what I keep telling myself. Don't I, Mariam?
Yes, she's never given up hope.
How about you? How are your spirits faring?
I'm all right, I guess.
It's going on 1 year, isn't it? Yes. He's been missing since August 3rd of '44. I'm sure plenty of boys were scattered in the confusion of battle. He could be a prisoner, or with the French resistance. If anything were wrong, I would know, wouldn't I? A mother's premonition knows these things, don't you think? Rest assured, I trust we haven't seen the last of your son. You really think so? You received a vision in prayer, didn't you? Yes, just as I told you. Well then, whatever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. See there? Did you hear that?
Yes.
Happy thoughts, Marian. Happy thoughts will always bring up roses. We've missed you the last several Sundays. Is everything all right?
I believe so.
It's not entirely true.
Mabel's given me a few alterations lately. I've been more tired than usual.
There's more to it than that.
What are you trying to say?
Go on. Tell Sebastian what you shared with me the other morning.
There's nothing to say. I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course you do. You just don't want to admit it.
Really, there's no problem at all.
You mustn't hide it, Marian. Please tell Sebastian what you told me, or I will.
I'm not feeling well. I apologize, but I'm too upset to sit any longer. I'm sorry. Please excuse me.
Marian exits through the dining room. There's a moment of silence. Thank you for coming, Sebastian. I wanted you to see for yourself how she's doing. She won't talk about anything. She just closes up like a clam, and it's impossible to get through to her. Aren't you being a little hard on her? Truth is, not hard enough. She's fragile. Perhaps a lighter touch. Oh no, underneath she's hard as a rock. Don't let her gentle looks fool you. A seasoned coal miner couldn't break through her heart. That's a little harsh, don't you think? Living with her these years hasn't been easy. When the kitchen floor needs a good scrubbing, my eyes don't lie. I know what I see. More tea? No, thank you. She wanders around with her mind, God knows where. I tried to reach out to her, but she's not here most of the time. The poor girl looks as if she needs a good, strong shoulder to lean on. With her husband missing, it's weighing heavily on her. She's not feeling anything I'm not. He's my flesh and blood, isn't he? Yes. And her husband. Morgan wanted us to live together. He thought it'd bring us comfort, but it's only being a burden. I'm worried. I'll say or do something I'll regret. God knows I never want to disappoint my boy. Why he ever chose her for his wife is beyond me. There are times we must walk the extra mile, and this happens to be one of those moments. Seek God's strength, and he'll bless you with the power to carry on. Carry on? I'm carrying the whole damn lock, stock, and barrel. Yes, I know. But she's your son's wife, and she's committed to your care. What frightens me most is Morgan seeing her this way. I understand. I don't think you do. I don't want him blaming me for her troubles. Why do you say that? I want everything perfect when he returns. God knows he's endured enough. Oh, my God, there's so much to be done. The garden's overrun with weeds, the cottage needs a decent coat of paint, and last winter nearly stripped all our roof shingles off. It was a fierce winter, all right. I'd say you need a little help around here. Well, I can't look to her, can I? Do you remember how my father was? I certainly do. He'd have none of it. Until his last breath, he had a shovel, hammer, or saw in hand, and the finished product to prove his worth before the sun set. He was a worker, all right. A good man, your father was. They don't come any better. He was the best, and Morgan follows his footsteps. He's a good boy. I only wish he hadn't married. That's enough now. It does you no good burdening yourself with what's already done. We must look to our possibilities. Maybe, but it doesn't change how I feel. Come on now. This sort of talk isn't good for your heart, and you know it. Let it go. What do you say? We take a look at that tattered roof and see what can be done. I suppose we could. I hate this weather. It makes me sluggish. And I'm not climbing any ladder, because heights make me ill. Sebastian stands. Don't worry, I'll do the climbing, for it brings me closer to God. I'll visit him with my feet on the ground, if you don't mind. Before we go, what's this troubled secret of Mariam's all about? Let's take it outside first. She doesn't talk much, but she's all ears. Harriet and Sebastian exit. The lights slowly fade to black.